I am the true strong man. Okay, so we've come now to the third and final deck that came out of Team Dragon's Vanity. So this is last card Revonn, so this is probably the most interesting one out of the three, although the Claret Sword one is kind of interesting if you build it the way I did, where you just run 4 Claret Swords as your only grade 3 in the deck, and try to max those grade 1s. So that deck is kind of cool in that regard, but last card Revonn, this card is definitely, if there was a ranking system of the 3 decks, like out of these 3 decks, in terms of difficulty to play, I would rank them like this: easy, normal, hard. Last card Revonn takes the most skill to play, by far. If you want to play him properly, if you want to play the deck actually like at a competitive level. But that's almost the case for all Aqua Force decks. So, start off we run 4 last card Revonn. I pulled this SSR. Can't believe I pulled SSR. I never even heard of SSR rare. I mean, I've seen it. I didn't know it was called SSR rarity. So, I don't even know super secret rare. I guess that's what that stands for. Anyway, 4 last card Revonn. He is really, really cool. He's really good. It's nice. It's very refreshing building this deck and playing as this. Someone who likes Aqua Force like me. After running Maelstrom for so long, finally something different that's unique. So, last card Revonn. This is the deck that you do not want to run front triggers, unfortunately. It's completely different from Maelstrom. He attacks last, so as the name suggests, so you're not really going to want to run front triggers. Unfortunately, the set reprints a front, a draw, a regular draw, and then a critical and a heal. So if you're building just from the box, you're going to have to run Rainbow. The only thing you'd have to swap is that one front trigger for, like, I don't know, Battleship Intelligence from the trial deck, which is pretty easy to get, or Blue Wave Officer Despina from the set that came with Glory Maelstrom, for those looking to build this deck. But anyway, 4 last card Revonn, he's very good. He reduces the power of the opponent's Vanguard by 5,000 when you rest one of your rear guards. There's a specific grade 1 that is meant to be used for that skill, or to combo with that skill. And then for the alternate grade 3, oh, and then I guess I'll explain his other effect. When he attacks, if you have 5 or more rested rear guards, keep in mind that's rear guards, not counting him, this unit gets plus 15,000 plus 1 drive. Then if your soul has a grade 3, he gets plus 1 critical. So that's very nice. The fact that you reduce your opponent's attack by 5,000 forces them to guard more, and it allows them to be more inclined to no guard one of the rear guards, because in hopes that they get like a trigger or something. So it helps you like push for game. The speed of the deck, it's in terms of the tempo of how the damage scales up between you and the opponent, is just a lot faster than like in the Maelstrom build. So next we run 4 Fort Vessel Dragon. So Fort Vessel Dragon is the other grade 3 in the set, the double R, that's really meant to work with Revonn because he's got an effect that requires last card Revonn. But he's the best alternate grade 3 if you're going to build a deck the way I did. Mainly because he has, if you have to ride him as the Vanguard, first of all, he has the gift marker. Second of all, you get to counterblast, and the opponent's Vanguard gets minus 5k. So he still reduces the opponent's attack by 5,000, and that helps synergize well with a lot of the rear guards in here. So the first rear guard in here that I'm running is not actually from the set. It's Algos, as the sleeves suggest. This is the original Algo from the very, very first Aqua Force trial deck. But anyway, 4 Algos, and the reason why I'm running him is because he works surprisingly well with last card Revonn, because if he's on alternate circle, he swings 14, then he stands up, then he can swing again, or you can leave him there if you already have like the 5 other rear guards. If you don't have, you know, like Galleass or something to pass the triggers to. So he's a really good, just overall card for the deck. You don't have to run if you don't have him, or you don't want to run him. But I find he is more optimal in here than something like Tidal Assault. Mainly because your Soul Blast is more, you want to save that for some of your other rear guards. And he uses Counterblast, and last card Revonn doesn't really use Counterblast, so yeah. So 4 Algos, that's what I decided to go with, but you don't have to run them. You can run, there's a common in the set that you can run that I was running like in the first week of running the deck. Next we'd run 4 Blue Wave Marine General Galleass, or Galleass. Galleass is so important for this deck because he synergizes so well with last card Revonn and Fort Vessel's effect. Basically, the reduced the opponents by 5,000. So he has a continuous Vanguard rearguard skill of if you have 4 more rested rearguards, he gets 5,000 power. It's on your turn. And then when you're grade 3, his rearguard effect is when your grade 3 attacks. So let's say last card Revonn attacks, and that means he's already rested. If your opponent's Vanguard is different than its original, and you know it will be because last card Revonn reduced it by 5, and even if they check a trigger, it goes up by 10, it's still different from the original, so his effect is still going to activate, which is Counterblast 1 and stand this unit. So him and Algos are the two that use the Counterblast. So between the two of them, you don't really have any resource issues most of the time. And then the other grade 2 I'm running, the only other grade 2 I'm running is 3 Blue Wave Marine General Foivos. So I remember when this guy was back in the day of like Stride with Tetra Drive Dragon and Anger Boil Dragon. But anyway, this guy, he's back now. You can run 4 of him if you want. Then you would run like 7 of this guy. But Foivos is just really good. He has a weird Gold Paladin effect, which is surprisingly good in Aqua Force, surprisingly. So when he's placed, if your Vanguard is last card Revonn, so I only run 3 of him because it's a rearguard only skill, and his skill doesn't really go off until Revonn's on the field. So if you have to, you don't really want to call him out early. He's just gonna like sit in your hand. You're not gonna use him to rush. What I'm saying? So that's why you only really need like 3, but 4 is fine. Soul Blast 1, so he uses up Soul. Rest him. Look at the top card of the deck and call it out to R. So that's very Gold Paladin. And then when your grade 3 Vanguard attacks, if your opponent's current attack is different, just like Galleass, but instead of Counterblast, you can discard 1 card to stand him up. So another good, you know, like a 5th or 6th attacker, or 4th attacker, depending on how many attacks you can get in that turn. So these two are really essential to the deck, so you want to run like 3 to 4 of both of them. For grade 1s, I'm running Wheel Assault. Wheel Assault is really good in here because he allows you to exchange to get more attacks in with your rear guards. And he's also really good turn 1 ride. For Blue Wave Senior Beragios. It's almost like an Italian name or something. The GIOS part of it. But anyway, this is the grade 3 searcher for Aqua Force, just like Brawin and the other guy, Narukami. So when placed from hand, look at 5, and then if you put something, you discard a card from your hand. During your turn, if you have 4 more rested rearguards, he gets plus 5,000. So really, really good overall. And then we have 4 Battle Siren Nerissa. So this is the card that I alluded to earlier when I said that Revonn's cost for his rest 1 of your rearguards to reduce the opponent's attack by 5,000. You're meant to rest this card because when this card is rested by another card's ability, Soul Blast 1, stand this unit, and it gets 10,000 power. So very, very good. Behind Revonn as a booster, a big booster, which is usually where I tend to place this card. But it can also stand on its own as an attacker because you use that effect. And then at the end of the turn, if you have 4 more rested rearguards, you can put it into the soul draw card. So really good to hide from and replace it with something if you're up against someone like Narukami, for instance, who likes to target your rearguards. Or if you're Overshoes in the back row and you're up against someone like Kagero, then it's really good. Or even Link Joker. And the only other grade 1 I'm running is 2 Nikolaz. Because I'm running Algos, I run him just to give me the search for Algos. Check top 7 when plays, search for Algos, add him to hand. And then he gets 3k for that turn. So he becomes 11k booster on the turn you activate his skill, or the turn you play him, basically. So not too complicated. People are probably going to ask why you're not running Coral Assault. Coral Assault is in my Maelstrom deck right now. And I don't really need him in here. Because I like I said, I like having the restand of Algos. So I can swing first with him. Usually I'm going to put him on an XL2 circle. So he's going to swing 14 as the first attack, then Counterblast stand up. And then depending on what's going on, like if they no guard and took damage and they got a trigger, then obviously he's not going to attack again. So he'll just sit there and wait until Revonn does his thing. And then I have like triggers to pass to Algos if they like PG Revonn. So I feel like Algos is better than Coral Salt in this deck. Now, Coral Salt will work, but you can't take these guys out for Coral Salt because they're more important than Coral Salt. And, you know, Coral Salt will swing big, but then that's basically it. Then you're going to hope on swinging on these guys when I think that it's better to just focus on Revonn having the big swing. They're going to PG him, but then you're going to stand one of these guys or have Algos to push your triggers to, because you're going to have 3 drive checks, so you're usually going to get 1 trigger. Alright, and then for the trigger lineup, it's the same as Narukami. It's the 4 Draw Sentinels, 4 criticals that are not from the set, and then 4 reprints of Sonic Sailor, Supersonic Sailor, and then the heal, and then the new starter, Kosty. So, that's basically the deck. I guess, yeah, if you want to run fronts, you can, but that's the one thing I'll say. Like, this deck, unfortunately, is not an Aqua Force deck that can benefit from running front triggers. So I feel like this is probably the best lineup. Draw Sentinels, because it allows you to run a more diverse grade 1 lineup. If you don't have this, though, then I would probably consider running 12 critical, or maybe 4 fronts instead of these. You don't really want to run the draw trigger, though. Like, the standard draw trigger, I would never run in here, because, like, if I have to run, look, let's say I have to run the Sentinel, I mean, the grade 1 Sentinel. If I'm running the grade 1 Sentinel, I would take out Wheel Assault. I'll just take Wheel Assault out, and so you would substitute him with a Sentinel, and then you would run either 4 front, like the fronts that came in the set, then you'd have to find like 4 criticals, or you could run Rainbow, which is from the set, or you could even go 12 critical. And the thing is, you don't really need these when you think about it for the draw power, just because you already have like ways to replace stuff in the field, and you have Excel 2, and Excel 2 is your draw trigger, in my opinion. That, like, Excel 2 is basically all you ever do. Like, if you're Aqua Force, you always go Excel 2. I don't think I've ever gone Excel 1 with Aqua Force. I've seen myself go Excel 1 as Great Nature. I've seen myself do it as Nova Grappler. I've never had to do it as Aqua Force. You always go Excel 2 with Aqua Force, because you commit so much to the field, and you need to replenish your hand, so you go Excel 2. Basically, guys, that's the deck profile. Hope you enjoyed it. I think it's pretty unique, because I don't see a lot of people running Algos. I see a couple people running Wheel Assault, but I don't really see anybody running Algos in here. But anyway, that's my take on the deck for Last Card Revonn. And let me know what other deck profiles you want to see. If I've got the cards, if I have the deck, I'll post it, and I'm curious to hear your feedback. So I hope you guys enjoyed the deck profile, and I'll see you guys next time. Thanks.